Welcome back, all you R enthusiasts. We're going to talk about how to encircle a subset of your data in your plot. Right, if you look at this plot that I've created over here, this is from the Star Wars universe. We've got the Star Wars characters. We're plotting mass against height. We're disaggregating by sex, males and females, and we've created a circle around those observations where that particular character is human as opposed to android or something else. Quite interesting, quite a lot of fun to do. Let's jump right in and I'll show you how to do that.
If you want to learn about R programming, then you have come to the right place. On this YouTube channel, we're creating R programming videos on everything.
Okay, at the beginning of our code, obviously we always start off by calling the library tidyverse. Tidyverse is a collection of packages that expands the vocabulary of R. Go check out my other videos if you want to learn more about that. And within the tidyverse, obviously there's ggplot. If you're not familiar with ggplot, then this video isn't for you. So really go back and watch some of my other videos about how to do plots using ggplot. You're not going to understand the rest of this video if you're not familiar with ggplot. If you are familiar with ggplot, then I'm going to introduce you to an add-on, which is ggalt, right? And this is where this encircle function comes in. It's quite a lot of fun. I really like it. The other thing I just want to point out is I've set the theme right here at the beginning of my code, just so that you know, if you set the theme here, theme set, right? And in this case, I'm using the minimal. It'll apply to all of the plots that you create. I mean, in this case, we're only creating one plot, but if we created multiple plots, this theme would apply across all of them, right? We're working with the data set Star Wars. Just to show you, Star Wars is a built-in data set. So once you've installed the tidyverse, you have access to this data set and you can practice exactly what I'm doing today at home on your computer. It's a lovely data set that has the Star Wars characters and a couple of characteristics with respect to them, right? This line of code here, I've created an object called just humans because when I create the plot, when I use this encircle function, I'm going to need to tell R what subset of the data it needs to encircle. Now, the best way to do that I've found is just to create a new object. I usually try not to create too many objects when I'm writing code, but in this particular instance, it really is worth creating a new object. I've called it just humans, assigning to that object Star Wars, and then filter by species equals humans. So it's only the humans in that data set. Otherwise, it's exactly like the Star Wars data set, right? Let's jump right into creating the graphic itself. Okay, here we start with Star Wars. I've just put in a filter, mass less than 200. Otherwise, you create a funny graph because there's some Star Wars characters that are very, very heavy. This is just so that it looks good. Drop NA so that our disaggregation by sex doesn't have NAs. Anyway, not important for the sake of this lesson. ggplot, aesthetics. Height and mass are the X and Y coordinates. Color equals sex. That's why we've disaggregated by sex. And geom point, that's the geometry that we're using for this particular graphic. Here's where things get interesting, right? Geom encircle. Now this function doesn't exist ordinarily when you're working with ggplot. That's why we had to install and call ggalt, right? Geom encircle is lovely, but you do need to define what data is going to be encircled. And that's why I created the new object just humans. So we say data equals just humans. And again, you do need to define the aesthetics, particularly with respect to the X and Y coordinates, right? X and Y axes. So aesthetic, and remember, R always assumes that the first argument is the X axis and the second argument is the Y axis. So height and mass, right? And then these other arguments down here are all optional. So I've said color equals steel blue, size 2, alpha 0.8. Alpha is how transparent a particular line is. Expand just says, look, we're going to expand the circle around, make the circle a bit bigger or a bit smaller around the subset of points in your data. And then when you push enter, of course, you get this lovely graphic down there. Okay, I hope you found that useful. Make comments below, like this, share this with people that you might find it useful. And remember to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Remember, you can go to learnmore365.com if you're wanting to get more teaching on R programming. Now, just a quick note, my channel is sponsored by Nested Knowledge. Nested Knowledge is a platform that facilitates systematic literature review and meta-analysis. So if you're an academic or you're doing research and you need to do a systematic lit review, Nested Knowledge is absolutely fantastic. Highly recommended. There'll be a link in the description below. Go and check it out. I absolutely love them. I use them myself, and I couldn't recommend them more highly. Okay, stay and watch another video. Don't ever change. Don't do drugs. Always do your best. Take care. Bye.